The best way to describe that is, if you ever seen that movie Jurassic Park, it's a weird analogy, but bear with me here, that the velociraptor is in a room and he's kind of poking at the door handle and he figures out he can turn it. And then he's like, the same thing's happening, right? One of you is getting trained, either the tenant is or you are.
Mhm.
And what I find is just don't let it get beyond that point. Don't let it slide, jump on things right away.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm Kristen, and I'm here with Ron Faraci. He is the creator of the copyrighted Bulletproof Lease and the author of Confessions of a Landlord. We're going to get all into how to protect yourself as a landlord. He has a copyrighted lease that you can buy from him. I'm really excited to get into it. Thanks for being here, Ron.
No, thanks for having me, Kristen.
So let's go into your background with low-income housing. I know that you manage several hundred. How did you get to that point?
If we're going way back, I'll give you the 30-second version. My story's not that exciting. Years ago, I'm 58 years old. Decades ago, I lived in Los Angeles, my wife and I, and we moved to the East Coast to buy rental properties. We didn't own any, but we just had the thought process that, if we could buy enough rental properties and get enough people to go to work every day and give us a third of their paycheck on the first of the month, then we don't have to go to work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just the whole thought process. And we uprooted our lives, left Orange County, headed to Connecticut, because you could buy low-income units that cash flowed, right? And make a couple $100 a month per door. Then now I just didn't know how many doors I need to fire my boss.
Mm-hmm.
For us, retirement was always a mathematical formula and not an age. So fast forward, we go to Connecticut, and I'm working a job like everybody. I'm a high school educated, guy. Don't come from money. I wish I did. And so we just started buying low-income properties. And of course, start small. Our first property was a 2-family in central Connecticut, real small, didn't know what we were doing. And then we just kept levering up, getting bigger and bigger, and then figured out how to buy these things without banks. And that's when we really started to just kept going. And of course, your friends and family, they see what you're buying and they're like, why are you doing that? It's dangerous. I don't want to change toilets at 2:30 a.m. and all those things that they tell real estate investors, which I don't know how to change a toilet. But it's wildly profitable. I can't fix anything. It's just very profitable. And it's just a segment of the market that everybody kind of glosses over, that think, because everybody wants the big, shiny, nice building. And sure, that's great and all. You just won't make any cash flow. What you're doing in there is you're hoping it goes up in value, and that's great, but that's not landlording. So we determined that low income is where all the money is. And of course, you get the headache too, right? And it comes with the territory. But what we found was owning Class C, a little bit of D, but mostly C properties, was no more real headache than Class B, right? So our typical tenant, I'm just making this up, she works at Dunkin' Donuts, he works at Walmart, right? And they're good, hardworking people, and they deserve a good, clean, safe, affordable apartment, and I provide that. But that tenant is not pickier than a upper end tenant. So if you're renting to a doctor and a lawyer, take the extreme example to the other side, well, you're getting just as many calls renting to the doctor and lawyer as to my tenant. You're just getting different calls, right? So we found that tenant base was our people, wildly profitable, but it can be a headache if it gets away from you. So we just kept buying and buying, and over the years we developed our 31-page lease. And, being a low-income landlord in a blue state, we deal with some of the toughest agencies, laws, and tenants anywhere in America. And we've been doing that for almost 20 years. And
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And we built it up to several hundred units owned and managed. And we started selling them off 5 or 6 years ago. And during that time, we also bought the local RIA in our state, the Real Estate Investors Association. It's a bit of a mouthful. And we ran that for about, I just sold it about 6 months ago. So probably about 6 years or so, I ran that. I loved it doing that. I got to tell you, we were the 5th largest RIA in America. And what was cool about that, which was just different for me, is, being a low income landlord, you make a lot of money, but you give up a little bit of your humanity to do it. Let's be honest. And for the first time, I felt like I got to give something back by owning the RIA. So I got to interface with just thousands of investors. And what a cool experience that was to kind of move the needle a little bit on some people's, journey to financial freedom, because that's really what I'm about. And so then sold that about 6 months ago to kind of wrap up this story. And I thought, well, I would just, I'm retired in Florida, and I'll kind of hang out on my beach and sip margaritas and, wait for my final days to come eventually, hoping many years from now. And I just thought that was a retired guy's life. And what I found was that's just not true. So, 3 or 4 months ago, I kind of missed real estate and being involved and all that. So 58-year-old guy, and I started a TikTok channel, which is kind of a joke, right? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm the first to admit that. But I just started doing tips and tricks from a slumlord. Hey, here's a lease clause I do in my 31-page lease. And, here's a tip right here. And it just really resonated. And, I was able to, I don't know how, but I got some videos have 500,000 views. And so I said, well, I'll sell my lease, my copyrighted lease. And that's going well. And then people started messaging me, hey, can you teach me what you do? Is it hard? I'm like, well, it's not hard at all. It's actually quite easy what I do. But it takes a lot of hard work, if that makes any sense. And so I've been just started doing that, kind of mentoring others. And, and then here I am on a podcast with you, and it's been a crazy journey.
That's amazing.
That's the quick version, by the way.
There's so much there to dive into. I think, going into your experience as a landlord, I'm sure you had to build a good team around you. I would love for you to go into kind of, typically your issues you ran into as a landlord. I know that they can sometimes be punching bags. Kind of as you've developed this bulletproof lease, what were the things that you were kind of combating there?
Well, the regulatory environment in a blue state, and any state really, but it's heavily emphasized in a blue state. Landlords, especially low-income landlords, are the enemy. I mean, even though we provide housing to people that really need it, and just to be clear, 98, 99% of my tenants are terrific people. We're talking about that 1 or 2%. That's why a 31-page lease exists. And so you got to stay on top of that, because the upside to our business is you only need a few deals, and you never met a broke slumlord, right? You never do. Yeah. But they can be very miserable because they can get away from you real quick. So our unofficial motto is, if you want a friend, buy a puppy. I'm fair, but I'm tough. And so you have to have all those clauses in there, and you have to enforce the rules. You can't let them slide because, you're constantly being tested, right?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
The best way to describe that is, if you ever seen that movie Jurassic Park, it's a weird analogy, but bear with me here, that the velociraptor is in a room and he's kind of poking at the door handle and he figures out he can turn it. And then he's like, the same thing's happening, right? One of you is getting trained, either the tenant is or you are. And what I find is just don't let it get beyond that point. Don't let it slide, jump on things right away. There's a 31-page lease. We all sign and initial it 40 to 50 times, by the way, in our lease. And I expect that to be honored. And I have to honor it, So yeah, rule enforcement is critical in my business for the tenant as well.
Absolutely. And you've spent a lot of time perfecting this lease with lawyers and, with capital. And I mean, it's great that you can offer it to people. What are some of the sample clauses that you have in there?
Oh gosh, I could spend all day on that. Let's see here. How about here's an easy one. Electronic communication only. Then they sign and initial that. So, and the reason for that is that, hey, Kristen, we agree to complete, that you have the capability, text, email, and we agree that all communication shall be, legal, full force and effect, da, da, da. The reason I want only electronic communication is I don't want you to show up in housing court going, I told him to fix those steps.
Right.
No, you didn't. Or I told him I smelled gas. No, we're going to communicate electronically. So I need to know who said what, when, and where, and why, satellite dish addendum. There's one nobody thinks about. So in low-income housing, a lot of people go with the satellite dish providers for their cable because it's a lot cheaper generally. It depends on the market, of course. So, and what happens is you go into some of these neighborhoods and you see buildings with, 28 satellite dishes on the roof. Because when they move out, they don't take their satellite dish with them, right? And so a new guy moves in and he calls up Dish or whomever it is, and they put in a new dish up top for that guy. Now there's another satellite dish. Well, they're drilling holes in your roof, right? And so if there's a leak, who are they going to call? It ain't Ghostbusters. It ain't going to be Dish they call. It's going to be you. Now, can you call the satellite dish company and say, come fix the leak? They're going to laugh at you, right? Obviously, I have a holdover fee. So, the lease ends on a specific date at a specific time, right? So always have in your leases, not that the lease ends on the 31st of the month. No, the 31st at noon, okay? And if you're there at 12:01, it's $100, okay? Because what happens is, by putting a time and a holdover fee penalty in there, and in $100 a day, let's say, okay, you want to incentivize a tenant to leave when they're supposed to leave, and how that typically goes is, let's say the lease is terminated on the 31st of the month, but that falls on a Sunday, so you get a call from the tenant, hey Ron, this is Kristen, I'll be out. I know I'm supposed to be out on the 31st, but I didn't realize that was a Sunday. My brother has to work on Sunday, so he can't help me move. So I'm going to get the U-Haul on a Monday, and I'll be out Tuesday. And you think, well, no big deal. It's only a few days. Well, the guy might be moving in behind you. So now there's a ripple effect. So now my phone's blowing up, right? Now I got to deal with you. I got to deal with him, because he needs in because he gave up his apartment. And so if you need extra time, well, then I'm going to charge you. $175 fee I charge for no let-in. What that means is, hey, Ron, I have a leak under my sink or whatever. Great. Guy will be there tomorrow at 9, whatever it is. And he shows up and, and he knocks on your door and you're like, oh, today's not a good day. My baby's sick or my husband had to work nights. He's sleeping. Can he come back tomorrow? No. I complied with all legally required notices. I'm here. I can't force my way in. I'm not going to kick the door in, However, if you're not going to let me in when I've given you the legally required notice, then it's going to be $175, and I could go on all day about
Yeah.
those things. And what happens is you learn that over time, right? So,
Right.
several hundred units, you learn those lessons over X amount of years. And so it goes into the lease and then goes to the lawyers and so I sell it as a fully editable lease, right? Because laws are different everywhere. So they're able to edit it to their particular situation or laws. No parking included. I put, as a matter of fact, in my lease, parking is specifically excluded from the lease. And you think, well, why would you not let them park there? I do let you park there. It's a courtesy only. Really important in a snow state. So what happens is, if it's going to snow overnight, in New England, let's say, or you're in Minnesota, and it's supposed to snow 3 feet. Let's use an extreme example. Well, it doesn't just snow 3 feet all at once, right? It takes 12 hours and just keeps snowing cumulative. So your plow guy comes at 4 a.m. and he's.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Plowing everybody out, right? He makes a pass at 4 a.m. Well, they go to work at 9. From 4 to 9, it snowed another foot. And they call you up and they're like, hey, when's the plow guy coming? Well, he was there. He's not standing there as every flake falls,
Right.
So I can do that if you want that kind of service. I just can't do it for $1,200 a month, So I put it's a courtesy only. If you don't like the way we plow, don't park there, and it's really meant to, and we explain this in our lease up, that we're not going to stand there as every flake falls. So we are going to get to it. But if you don't like our speed or our service, that's okay. You don't need to park there because it's a courtesy only. Things of that nature. And you want to set those examples in the beginning, and just all the, again, I could spend all day doing that. All the tips. Boy, the strangest ones I've learned over the years. If you got a multifamily building, go into the basement. And it depends on where it is, what part of the country you're in. But here's a great tip for somebody. Go into the basement. Find the main water shutoff valve. And it exists somewhere, okay? And in New England and the Midwest, it's usually in the basement. And find that magic handle, okay? And the basement's full of handles, but you want to find that one handle and you want to paint it bright orange or bright fluorescent yellow, whatever, easily identifiable. Because what happens is washer and dryer, hose breaks on the second floor unit. Right? So low income, if you have a washer and dryer in there, they usually do the laundry as they're going to work, the washer, and then they'll put it in the dryer when they get home from work. Put it in, the hose disconnects, floods the downstairs unit. So you get a call from your tenant downstairs. Oh my God, water's coming through the ceiling. What do I do? Knock on the door, they're not home. Tell the tenant, go down into the basement, or tell your contractor, go down in the basement, turn the bright orange handle. Because otherwise, how do you describe where that handle is in a room full of handles, right? In low income areas, you want to paint, if you have copper pipe in your basement, spray paint it white. Just mark it up. And the reason you want to do that is because crackheads will go into the basement, they'll steal the copper, but if it's painted white, it's considered dirty copper. It's worthless. It's worthless. They won't even bother tearing it out. I go all day on this.
Wow.
Never ceiling fans, no garbage disposals, no carpets, no spray nozzles, garbage disposal all the time. If you can't rent it for more money, they won't rent it faster or they won't stay longer. You simply don't do it. A garbage disposal. The problem with the garbage disposal is, whether you pull a G.I. Joe out of there and it stops working, and you'll get a phone call. Hey, my garbage disposal is not working. What happened? I don't know. It turns out there's G.I. Joe, golf balls, whatever in there. The problem with the garbage disposal or ceiling fan is, if you have a Section 8 inspection and it's not working, you just failed. Even though on a ceiling fan, let's say, the light works fine, but the fan is broken, you failed. So I just don't do them because I don't get more money. I don't rent it faster and they don't stay longer. I simply don't put them in. I take them out, in fact, and all those, another low income tip. Again, I could do these all day. Flex Seal. I should get paid a commission from Flex Seal. Flex Seal makes a paint. You've seen it on TV. It's really cool. And it comes in a very, very thick paint and usually in about a quart. Take that, and it's like a rubberized paint, and put it under all your bathroom and kitchen sinks. So paint it. So when they have a minor drip, it doesn't rot the floorboard of below your sink, right? And drip through. So it kind of catches. So it creates almost like a little tub in your sink. Stuff like that will save you over time. I could go on for a million of those, by the way.
I mean, these are such great tips, like very practical things to follow. And you're right. I mean, this came from probably years of you figuring this out the hard way, and you're really helping people cut the fat and just get to what works. I would love for you to talk about, I know as a landlord, you really need thick skin and you need to be able to hold strong on your lease. Can you talk a little bit
You
more
do.
about that?
Yeah, and that applies to whatever facet of landlording you're in, A, B, C, or D. You need to have thick skin. Landlords are the pariahs of society today, right? Housing's a right, which that's fine if you believe that, but I just don't want to pay for others' housings, you know. So I provide a service, but yeah, you need to understand that you're going to get some hate, especially at my level. I get called, and I play with the word slumlord a lot. I don't consider myself a slumlord. I'm a workforce housing provider who plays, in the NFL, so to speak. I play tough, but I play fair. Yeah, run your system, but just know that the system is really geared against you. Most laws, and some laws against landlords are a good thing. There should be a healthy dose of balance. The problem is that balance has gotten like this against the landlord over the years, especially the last 5 years. So you want to make sure that your systems are in place now, even if you're just starting off, start building that scale muscle. So when you do get to, the size that I was, that muscle has been developed over the years. So yeah, use your lease, whether it's mine or your own, and enforce it. And that's just really the key. As long as you enforce everything, you don't want to selectively enforce. She was late this month, but I'm going to let it slide. No, don't do that. You've already lost if you've done that, And by not enforcing the rules, if you think about it, you're really doing your other tenants a disservice. So let me give you an example of that. So typically what happens when I have a problem, not all the time, of course, but what happens is this. I rent to usually a young female. That's usually how this works out, by the way, right? I rent to you, Kristen. You're great, right? You meet all my requirements. There's a connection where this is going to work. We transact business. You move into the unit. You're great. Well, a couple months later, you're at a club. You meet this guy, this loser, all right? He's the new love of your life. So he moves in with you, even though I don't know about it, all right? So now he's a tenant legally, even though I've never heard of the guy, but now he's a legal tenant, and he's smoking dope at 3 a.m., playing video games with all his buddies, taking up 5 parking spots, working on cars, playing music loud, but you're paying your rent, right? So all right. Well, can I get rid of you based on that? Typically not. If you have a 1-year lease, typically I can't get rid of you, even though you're causing all this problem for the other tenants in the building. I don't live there. I don't care. But my other tenants care. You're disrupting their home. So I become the enforcer now and the protector of my other tenants. So I only do a month-to-month lease. That's all I do. Okay. So I can fire you at any time. So I just terminate your lease in that situation. So the problem with the 1-year lease in my business is, Kristen, and that scenario I just did, and don't mean to make you look bad, but under that scenario, I really can't get rid of you, and all my other tenants are now stuck with you and your jerk boyfriend because you're paying your rent. But and you said, well, they're violating your lease. You can just get rid of them under that. That's what the law says, but that's not reality. Okay. So month-to-month lease lets me kind of be in control of the situation so I can protect the other tenants. I am their protector in a weird kind of way. They look to me to enforce the lease. So enforce the lease. That's my advice.
Wow. I mean, you make my job very easy, by the way. You've just given us so many tips, so many just things to follow. I mean, people who have been in the game a long time or just starting out, these are such good tips. I think a lot of things that people don't think about. Please tell us where to find you, definitely on TikTok, and how to find your Bulletproof Lease.
Yeah, TikTok, I think it's Bulletproof Lease, all one word on TikTok. That seems to be where I am. Again, I don't filter or edit my videos because I don't know how. I try to do a video. I try every day. It's not always every day. Or my website is bulletprooflease.com. Like I said, it's a 31-page, fully editable lease. Built over years of a lot of ugly crying, a lot of lessons. Things didn't always go well. But over the years, between all the lawyers and everything involved in it,
Yeah.
I've probably at least spent $10,000 building that lease over the years.
Wow.
So yeah, that's where people can find it, and look on TikTok for little tips and tricks I do. I am doing mentoring, but not much. I have my last mentoring class I decided to do on December 6th, and that'll be the last class I do. I just rather go one-on-one mentoring after that because I support my students for the life of their business. And it's hard to do that if I do too many students. So I'm just going to do a one-on-one, teach people how to do what I did without banks and grow to scale so they can fire their boss. That's really
Yeah.
what I do.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you everyone for listening. I hope you got a lot of great information from this. Definitely follow Ron. He's very generous with the free information he gives out. So follow him on social, look at Bulletproof Lease. It'll save you a lot of money on lawyers. And yeah, we'll see you back next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.